So, hello YouTube, I am Allie Mack, and I hope to start this channel as sort of like a book review vlog, if you will. I'm mostly just things that interest me, because I do love music. That's sort of a big thing. I feel like books and music go hand in hand, and also different TV series that I'm interested in. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see, I guess, oh, okay, so just sort of my background. I graduated from college a couple years ago, and so right now I am studying for the GRE so that I can get into grad school and get my library certification, or librarian certification, so that I can be uber geeky and work at a library. And let's see what else. Right now I spend kind of a lot of time reading. I am working full-time, kind of in the opposite sort of field of, library science, which is I'm in sales right now and hoping to get out of it. But so to relieve my sort of distress at being in a field that is absolutely not what I wanted to do, I have started doing video blogs of books and stuff, and I hope to start a really epic one next year, but more on that later. So right now I guess what I want to talk about is kind of my interests and my book background, I guess. Let's see. So first of all, something about me that I think is kind of, I don't know how unique it is, but I've talked to some people and this isn't the same for them. I don't remember not being able to read. I just don't. I mean, it seems like I've always been reading, whether it was, no matter what it was. So one of the first book series that I really geeked out on, because I mean, I read books, I read like the Ramona Quimby books when I was in elementary school. I read lots of different little chapter books in elementary school. But the first series that I ever went completely gaga over was The Chronicles of Narnia. This, of course, is not the edition that I had when I was reading the books. This is sort of the omnibus that I got at Target when the movies came out. I think my sister has the individual little books. And, I mean, the first time I ever heard of The Chronicles of Narnia was in 4th grade. My teacher was reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe to us, and then that made me, and I guess that was also kind of my first obsession with reading books in the correct order if they're in a series. So that started me on the path to reading the entire series, and at the time I think it took me about a year to get through all 7 books, and I mean, when I finished reading The Last Battle, like, that was the first series that I cried over. I cried when I finished reading The Last Battle. I had a huge crush on King Peter, on, the Peter the Magnificent. I had a huge crush on him. I wanted to live in Narnia. This is like, and this was before Harry Potter. Like, of course, Harry Potter definitely comes next on the list. I don't have the books with me right now because they're in another room. But, before Harry Potter, there was The Chronicles of Narnia. So that's definitely the first book or the first series that I ever really obsessed over. Then, of course, came Harry Potter. And that was amazing. I mean, I think that, and I'm 25, so I feel like the books came out really became popular right when I was 11, so I was Harry Potter's age when he was going into Hogwarts, and just staying with the series through every time, every time a book came out, getting it as soon as it came out. And I remember the very first time I remember when I got the first Harry Potter book. It was for the holiday season, and I was at Borders when they were still open, and my dad had sort of hidden it, and it was going to be a surprise, but I'd already picked out some other books that I was interested in, so I was looking, I was like, Dad, who's the Harry Potter book for? So that's sort of my memory of Harry Potter, and I just love the books so much, and that is probably the second series that I cried over. Oh, I cried so much in the last Harry Potter book. It was just crazy. And I love J.K. Rowling's writing style. I haven't really read any of her adult novels yet, but I plan to. And so that's you know, from the Chronicles of Narnia to Harry Potter. I don't know if you can tell a theme, but I definitely love sci-fi and fantasy. And that kind of brings me to the next series that I really love. And it kind of overlaps Harry Potter because Harry Potter took a long time to come out. So after Harry Potter, of course, is The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I actually started reading this series because the movies were coming out, and my dad told me that I couldn't see the movies until I read the books. So I started reading the books, and the rest is history. I think that, so I started reading the books when I was about 12, and I've reread them a couple times since then, but it took me a while after I first read the series before I could read them again, because I get really attached to characters. I think most people who read a series who are really passionate get attached to characters. So, I love these books. I feel like every time I read them, something new pops up that I didn't notice before, so that's really exciting to me. And as I said, that kind of overlapped with Harry Potter, because I started reading Harry Potter when I was 11, but then, you know, I read the first 3 books like immediately, because they were all out at the same time, and then, you know, waiting for the 4th, and then so on, I started reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So that's that. And that kind of takes us up to high school at this point. And then when I was in high school, you know, I did a lot of reading for, you know, just regular school reading. But I don't think that any of the books really resonated with me until a friend suggested that I read Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. And I just really, I don't know what I love so much about this book. I still love his writing. I still read his books. But I think what I love so much about Fight Club is that I was feeling, I mean, most teenagers are angsty when they're in high school, and this is a very angsty book, I guess. And so I think that Chuck Palahniuk's a really compelling writer. I think that he kind of really captures a certain generation of young people, and I really enjoyed his book, and all of his books, and I highlighted a lot. Let me see if I can find something I highlighted or underlined or something. Basically all of the things that you saw in the movie. So this is a quote from, I think, the first chapter, and it says, "If you don't know what you want, you end up with a lot you don't. May I never be complete, may I never be content, may I never be perfect. Deliver me, Tyler, from being perfect and complete." And I think that that kind of sums up the book. I think it's about a lot of dissatisfaction with the world. So then the final book that I really want to talk about, loving and just, I think that so far it really shows that I have a very wide range of reading. I mean, I've read so many books, and I have so many bookshelves. You can't see them right now. You can see one. That's just one of my bookshelves. I have 2 others. And these are really just sort of highlights throughout, you know, my life of the books that have really impacted me, that I could really go and sort of pinpoint to a certain time period. So final book that I want to talk about that I absolutely love and adore, that I have read so many times I've completely lost count, is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So there you can see it right there, Jane Austen. And I first read Pride and Prejudice when I was probably in 5th grade, but I mean, this is a book that you just have to keep reading over and over again, because you will find something different every single time you read it. I probably had no business reading it in 5th grade, because I don't think, unless you're a genius, a literary genius, no 5th grader is going to really comprehend what's going on in Pride and Prejudice. So then I reread it in high school. I just kept rereading it, and then I was really lucky. My final semester of college, I took for my 19th century lit class. The focus was on Jane Austen, and so I was really lucky to be able to reread all of her novels and to discuss Pride and Prejudice, and I've read it a couple times since then. And it's kind of like my sort of, after I finish a series or after I finish a book that I really love, I turn to Pride and Prejudice and I reread it. It kind of clears my mind and prepares me for another series of books that I want to read. And I find something new every single time I read it, and I love it, and I think that it is so relevant to today. I think that even though, you know, she's 200 years ago, that's what she was writing about, with society and the times. I think that it's still relevant today, the relationships, the family dynamics, how, you know, the relationship between Darcy and Elizabeth. I think that all of that is still relevant. So that kind of explains sort of the books that have impacted me a lot in my life. Currently, I read everything. I read historical novels. I read historical romances. I read trashy romances. I read contemporary novels, classics. If it appeals to me, I'll read it. Something that I've kind of gotten away from is young adult fiction. I did have a phase where I was reading young adult fiction quite a lot, but lately it just makes me kind of, I don't know. High school was never like that for me, and I get that it's a book. I really do, I promise. But, yeah. So, I just finished reading the Guardian series by Mel Jean Brooks. She's more of a popular romance author, but I really like her writing style. And I'll talk more about that later, but that just kind of gives you an idea of where I'm coming from. This turned out to be a much longer video than I thought it would be, and I hope that you'll continue to follow me, and we'll go on many reading adventures together. So thanks so much. Love you dolls. Bye.